Episode 51 of The Modern Moron contains months-old headlines at less than half the price. You can't beat that. However, I do want to mention in the intro something you must already know about that's a little more current, and that's the Iowa Caucus. Or should we call it the Iowa kaka? Iowa cacophony of chaos? You know it's bad when a news source that sides with you Democrats calls it a failure. CNN calls it a meltdown. CNBC News calls it a debacle. The New York Times calls it a holy mess. So naturally, every candidate is claiming victory to add to the confusion. Great start, Democrats. Also, the Republican senator from Maine, Susan Collins, a longtime senator, said she will vote to acquit Trump, although stating that what he did was, quote, improper and demonstrated very poor judgment. She also said that he has, quote, learned from this case and that he will, quote, be more cautious in the future.
It has to be a criminal act.
We both know that is utter horseshit. He's never admitted any wrongdoing, and he has always said the call was perfect. Okay, to our episode. I finished up my conversation with my poli-sci screenwriter. We wrapped up last episode talking about President Trump's rally speeches and how they resemble World Wrestling Entertainment with all the name-calling and how Trump supporters love it when he calls his opponents names and belittles them, and it's turned into a form of entertainment, political entertainment. Politics has to be entertaining all of a sudden. It's an interesting point that my guest makes, and it's how Trump taps into the emotional side of his base. We also talk about the month-old revelation of the Houston Astros cheating by garbage can beating. Not just its effect on baseball as a whole, but the millions of dollars it probably cost two particular pitchers who were victims of their cheating in the postseason, and what it's probably going to be like for those Houston Astros this coming season. And we wrap up with a little talk about documentaries. So, we got hard-hitting, cutting-edge, months-old news, political entertainment, garbage can beating, cheating, and documentaries on The Modern Moron. Thank you for listening.
No matter what we're doing, it better be entertaining. If I'm eating dinner, there better be a TV or some music playing, because God forbid I sit in quiet and eat my food. If I'm on the airplane, I better have 45 channels. We are constantly in search of entertainment. And that's why it's so easy to jam a guy like Adam Schiff or these other guys who are trying to do serious work. It's because they're boring.
Shifty Schiff.
True.
They bore me. So that makes them weak.
And I don't know if he intellectually knows it, but he instinctively knows how to get people emotionally fired up. He appeals to their emotions, not to their logic. I mean, that's what I see. He riles people up emotionally, and let's storm the gates. Let's drain the swamp. Let's whatever, rather than listening to reason.
The do-nothing Democrats.
He appeals to emotions. And I think if Democratic Party is going to come up with somebody, they've got to come up with somebody that's got some kind of charisma that can, I think they've got to go with somebody younger. I'm interested in Buttigieg and Yang.
They don't have what it takes.
I don't think Trump would know what to do with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
This is terrible to say, and it's not very serious. But
good. Finally.
But we were talking about Buttigieg. Wasn't there a third Omen movie where Damien ran for president? Buttigieg is so perfectly non-offensive and a little mundane and monotone enough that he's like a little Damien. He's got a little of that in him.
Okay, so you think he's the devil reincarnate?
I don't believe in any of that, but sure, let's make him Damien.
Well, hey, fire him up. Hey. Sure, give him some pizzazz.
He's got the Satanist vote. That's a big percentage.
And I'm the devil.
Sure, why not? We'll take whatever we can get.
Now kindly undo these straps.
But I don't know if maybe the way to beat him is to
play his game.
I think maybe you're more serious. Like, I'm sorry, this isn't a circus.
Crazy Nancy.
I'm running for president.
Crying Chuck.
And I don't know if that's what works, but
maybe.
I do know that he wouldn't have been able to beat Obama.
This son of a bitch.
And so what was it about Obama that would have been so effective in neutralizing him? And I think there was a little bit of gravitas that Obama had. And maybe, I don't know, in that field.
I think another way to take him down, and I clearly not intelligent enough to do it, but his weakness is that goddamn Twitter. He cannot leave it alone as much as his advisors would. Please put that phone down, Mr. President.
Right, but
he will not do it.
I actually think it's an effective tool for him.
Oh, yeah, he knows how to use it.
Because, he doesn't have to wait around till the next morning to make they don't even have daily press briefings anymore.
That's right.
That used to be the way you got your message out. Oh, the president did go to dinner last night with Mussolini, but here's what happened. And, you sort of address each and every controversy as it comes up, but you have a whole night to sort of get yourself together. This guy doesn't have 30 seconds.
No, but that's his strength. Maybe that could be his weakness.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but he can't leave it alone. Maybe he could be baited into something because he can't leave stuff alone.
I am a very stable genius. Okay.
I almost think there has to be a way to sort of point out the fact that we don't have a Secretary of Homeland Security. We don't have a Secretary of State or CIA or all those vacancies and all the jobs that are left open because he's not doing his job. He's not filling the spots and getting them.
Really? How many I didn't. It's no surprise that I'm not aware of something, but how many vacancies are there in his cabinet right now?
Well, I know that they don't have Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all acting. So they're not permanent.
Oh, okay.
And even the vacancies, I think DHS is a vacancy. I think Department of Energy. There's a lot of big departments where there's nobody around. And then the other thing I would say is, why?
Why hasn't he appointed somebody?
Is golf more important than having a Homeland Security secretary?
I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf.
And I don't know. Maybe it is. You tell me.
Depends on who he's playing golf with,
Right,
I guess.
right.
If he's interviewing the Homeland Security secretary,
He's hitting illegal immigrants with his golf balls. That's what it is. Two birds with one stone.
You're fake news.
Yes.
Okay, let's move to something else.
Yes.
Your choice, baseball or the Oscars?
Well, I think the cheating in baseball is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because
Let's do that.
So apparently what they were doing is that, and there's a great YouTube video by a guy named Jomboy, Jomboy. He's the one who uncovered this banging trash can video.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So just in case anybody had just flown in from Neptune. So the catcher would signal for a fastball and then signal for something else. And if it was something else, most likely a changeup.
Or an off-speed pitch.
Right.
Something off-speed.
Yes. They would be watching on a camera. So the way they would signal to the batter is by banging a bat on a trash can, and the batter would hear it and go, okay, it's not a fastball.
Yeah, it's something off-speed.
Right. And
so if they didn't hear a banging trash can, expect a fastball.
Right, which is a great pitch to know that you're getting because, those guys can hit a fastball.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is fascinating is that people sort of expect that it was happening. And that if you said, oh, everybody's doing it, most people would go, oh, yeah, I knew it. I knew they're all doing it.
Well, if they're all doing it, then the playing field is still level.
Right, but the point is they weren't all doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the way a story comes out that determines how much traction it has. And I think the fact that it came out the way it did this way makes it much more lethal for the Astros. If it had been 3 teams or something like that, then it would have been like, oh, well, everybody. But if it's just this one team and the guys who coached that team at a time in 2017, I think it makes it a very lethal infraction.
Well, didn't the manager of the Astros go to the Red Sox? Or
Yeah,
who's the guy that...
Alex Cora was the bench coach for Houston, and he went to the Red Sox.
And then they won a World Series.
They did. And then one of the players involved in the sign stealing just became the manager of the Mets. He hadn't even started, and he was fired because he was involved.
I think I read the Mets are paying either 3 or 4 managers at the same time right now.
Yeah, and I think they still pay Bobby Bonilla. They owed him so much money they separated it out over 10-year cycles.
They're paying all these managers and they don't have a manager.
Yeah. I am available.
Do you know, I would hire you. Do you know the Yankees minor league affiliate on Long Island are having a Astros mini trash can giveaway?
Oh, I love it. Here's the part of this that I'm really excited to see is that baseball fans, people that actually go to games and watch baseball, are different than other fans of the major sports. And the main difference is baseball fans tend to have a stronger attachment to history. Because the way baseball is structured, it's very historical. You can, okay, that guy.
Wooden baseball bats.
Yes. And it's,
all kinds of things.
but everybody's always measured against history. Is Alex Rodriguez the greatest player whereas football, it's like, wow, it was a different era. It was this, it was that. I think baseball especially has an attachment to history. And I think these guys, the Astros, everywhere they go all year, they're going to get brutalized.
Oh, absolutely. I think people are going to go out of their way.
It's going to be.
There's a Dodger fan group that's considering a trip to Houston just to boo the Astros.
But then here's my question, too, is that what about if you're an Astros fan?
What if you're an Astros advertiser in the stadium?
Yeah. Or what if you're a super litigious lawyer in Houston and you have clients that, for instance, an advertiser says, listen, we're Minute Maid. We make orange juice and we sponsor your field. And now we are implicated because every time they talk about cheating, they bring up Minute Maid Field.
Yeah.
And this is not what we agreed to when we signed the contract.
Oh, yeah. That stadium could be blank inside this coming year. I'm wondering what advertisers are going to do. And I think you mentioned that they should not only have their trophy, their title stripped away, but they should be kicked out of the league for a year. No Astros in the schedule, no Astros anywhere in any schedule.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that?
My idea was they should cancel their season.
Yes.
And the reason for that is that the punishment has to be so severe that no other team, no individuals, no players are ever tempted to do it again. Because managers come and go, general managers come and go. But if you cancel a season, no one wants
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
What would that be, I wonder? I mean, wow.
Money-wise?
Oh, yeah. It's all about money, unfortunately.
It would be hundreds of millions of dollars, you'd think.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
But, baseball, it protects itself. As a matter of fact, they said that the most money the commissioner could fine a baseball team at one time is whatever the fine was. And I think it was $5 million. That's the most they could fine them.
How long ago was that? Do you recall? Because, I mean, how can you say that you can only fine a team $5 million when you're playing one player $100 million?
Well, that's the point, is that they govern themselves so they can make it whatever they want. I mean, the craziest video is Altuve hitting a game-winning home run off of, a pretty impressive closer in Chapman. He hits the game-winning home run in the American League Championship Series. Game-winning home run, and the first thing he does as he approaches home plate is hold his jersey together and tell the players, don't rip my shirt off.
Yeah, I've seen that.
He doesn't celebrate with them. He goes into the dugout, into the clubhouse, and then comes out. Let's say he didn't wire himself. Then someone needs to ask him under oath, what exactly were you doing? Where were you going? What was more important than celebrating with your teammates on your home field, a game-winning home run in the American League Championship Series?
I didn't realize he went into the dugout. I just saw the clip of him grabbing his shirt, holding it, saying, do not grab my jersey.
Right, and then he runs directly into the dugout, back into the clubhouse, and then comes out.
You know how naive I am? I was thinking, he wants to save his jersey for posterity.
Oh,
he probably wants to frame it.
He has to pee.
What an idiot I am.
He has to pee.
Aw, that's adorable.
Isn't that
His
sweet?
little body can't hold in all that Gatorade.
And then there was a photo of who's the right fielder. He used to play for the A's. He's sitting in a post-game interview, and it looks like he's wearing a wire. I mean, he wouldn't have done that. That's probably photoshopped.
Here's where I would disagree, and it could be photoshopped. I'm not saying it couldn't be. But I also remember there was a time in baseball when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, every second time they got up, they hit a home run. Well, that's just not possible.
This ball is crushed.
But none of us knew that at the time because we were intoxicated with what we were seeing.
Yes.
And so many times when people are cheating or breaking the law, they're doing it right in front of you, but you're sort of caught up in it. You're like, well, he always had a brand new sports car. I didn't think anything weird of it. And it's like, wait, what? So I feel like cheaters and people like that end up getting super lazy. And then
It was Josh Reddick, by the
Josh
way.
Reddick.
That would be super lazy.
Yeah.
Walking out with a wire taped to your chest, sitting in front of a camera and doing an interview.
But again, he's caught up in the moment. It's his first time he's ever
True,
won the
that's
American
true.
League Championship Series. Someone wants to talk to him and not Altuve because they can't find him. So
As I understand it, the wire system was like a little vibrating thing. That if you're wearing a wire and you're in the batter's box, if the vibrating thing goes off, you're getting an off-speed pitch.
or your table's ready at Olive Garden. It's one of the two.
Or your table's ready at Olive Garden. Yeah.
Don't steal my line.
Good one.
Well, I said it clearer. Say it again. Say your line again. Say it again so I get it nice and clear. Go.
I might change the restaurant.
Go. Yeah, do it. Come up with new choice.
No, I'm
New
not.
choice. New choice.
No. Please don't yell at me.
God damn it, let's get the show. God damn it.
Here's the thing that really irks me about this Astros thing. It's not even about the Astros in many ways. Darvish, who was a pitcher at the time for the Dodgers, he was a trade deadline, late acquisition because they needed another starter.
Mm-hmm.
He got absolutely crushed by the Astros. Crushed.
Yes.
In Houston. It was like batting practice. Same thing with Kershaw. He got lit up. So now what about that?
Did you read an article about that? Because I saw an article focusing on that as well, and I'm pretty sure it was the LA Times.
It was the first person I thought of was Darvish because I always liked him. And then after that happened, and Dodger fans were brutal. They were relentless with the guy. And it's so much so that the Dodgers were like, yeah, we're going to re-sign him. And Dodger fans lost their minds. And he didn't re-sign with the Dodgers. And
Yeah.
did he sign for less than he could have had the Astros not cheated?
That's an excellent point. I mean, it affects both of those pitchers.
Well, and also, if Darvish had won Game 5 or whatever it was, so then what does that make him as a baseball player?
Yeah.
He's a
His
bigger
value,
deal.
his stock price plummeted on that outing.
For sure. And then he's not a World Series winner. Well, what's the difference between a World Series winner and not a World Series winner when it comes to money? There's a marked difference.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of implications with that.
Are you serious?
Is that your take?
Lots of implications. That's my take. And we'll be back right after this word from Oxy 10.
Welcome back to Lots of Implications. We won't spell them out. We'll just tell you
That there are a lot of implications. That's how we'll conclude every story. Lots of implications with the next presidency and with baseball. Back after this.
The space program.
Lots of implications there.
You know what I do want to say about the Oscars?
Okay.
If I can.
Please.
I love documentary films.
Me too.
If anyone else does that's listening, you must go see documentary films in the theater. It is a great way to keep those movies being made.
Why do you feel that? Because a lot of times I will, unless it's especially cinematic, I'll figure it's a story. I don't need to see that on the big screen, but you think it needs to because for supply and demand, like for economic reasons?
Yes, because if exhibitors and studios and filmmakers know that there is a reliable audience of people willing to pay money to sit down and watch a documentary film, then they'll make more of them. I know that's an impossibility because nobody's making more movie theaters.
You get Netflix, correct?
I do.
I feel like Netflix, or maybe because they know I watch documentaries, every week they're sending me, we have a new docuseries, we have a new documentary for you to watch.
Yeah.
Have you seen Don't F with Cats?
No. Is it great?
The documentary, though, Don't F with Cats. You've seen it advertised, right?
I have seen it advertised, yes.
Is there a reason why you're not watching it? Is like, I'm a pet lover. I just can't. Makes you too squeamish.
No, I don't even know what it is. I saw it, but I was busy, watching something else and then skipped over it.
Okay, that's your assignment for the next time you come on the shows.
Okay.
Don't F with Cats. How about, I'm right in the middle of it. It's a 3-part documentary on Aaron Hernandez.
That is my next one. That one makes me nervous.
Why is that?
Because I think that football and hockey, to a lesser degree, are ignoring, they have a tobacco problem. The concussion problem is their tobacco problem.
Yeah.
And the longer they wait, the worse it's going to get. And I don't know if this Aaron Hernandez documentary addresses concussions, but
It does.
okay. So I love hockey. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saddened for, they've had a lot of suicides in hockey and
Really?
with guys who, oh yeah, suicides with guys who have retired. And it makes me very sad. And so it's one of those things where it's like watching a disturbing documentary on your family in a way.
Yeah. They address Junior Seau, who was a teammate of Aaron Hernandez. They address Junior Seau's suicide and the fact that his suicide, that he shot himself in the chest so that his brain could be preserved for research.
Right. And that is a trend with these guys, because I know in hockey there have been guys, I don't know if they've done the exact same thing, but as far as the donating their head to be studied, that's a common theme.
Yeah.
It's dreadful.
Yeah. If you're a documentary fan, have you watched on Netflix? There's two others. The one about Cambridge Analytica on the election.
I did not see that one.
Oh,
The one I did watch
yes.
Was Wild Wild Country.
I started to watch that and I got kind of bummed out by that.
Yes. The Rajneesh Puram.
Yes.
I loved it.
You loved it.
Here's why. My favorite sort of stories of humanity, my favorite stories of humanity are when large groups of people follow charlatans. Those are my favorite stories.
Okay. Well, that's definitely what that was.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fascinating.
A lot of implications there, Bob.
Yeah. Well, we moved here from Massachusetts and now we're in Oregon and we're all wearing purple robes. It's like, yeah, that's totally normal, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you're the one. You're right. You're the one with the truth. Now move to Oregon. Like, it just fascinates
And
me.
your guru has 35 Rolls Royces, but everything's fine.
Right.
And he drives by you in one and you're okay with that.
Yeah, and he just bought the largest land purchase in the history of Oregon. But yeah, totally. Not a big deal. You're doing fine. Everybody's poor. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow, 8 more buses of homeless people are coming in just because they need more population to sway the vote. Like, the whole thing was like, it was amazing.
Crazy town. The one, I also another one that I'd like you to see is Unnatural Selection. Have you heard of that one?
No. Hold on. Let me write these down. Damn it.
Well, you're in front of the computer. You can go to Netflix.
Oh, I'll just watch it right now. What are we doing?
We're doing Mystery Science Theater 3000 with documentaries.
That's what we should do. The podcast is watching documentaries.
Yes.
With and
Yeah. And then we'll do a sound up. And when you hear that, that's when you press play.
start.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, like, throughout there'd be a lot of, hey, I gotta let my dog out and I gotta pee real quick, so I'll come right back. I'll come right back.
We're gonna hit pause for 2 minutes while you hear from our sponsors. Maybe that's what this podcast will become, a timed commentary to Netflix documentaries. Or not. So, as of this recording, our dear leader has given his State of the Union address where half the room stands up and applauds for everything while the other half of the room sits in silence. You know, part of me, honestly, felt bad for Nancy Pelosi having to sit behind Trump for the whole speech and pretend to shuffle papers as if she was reading something. She looked so frustrated that she did look a little crazy. I know I would feel crazy if I had to do that. I was very impressed, however, when President Trump used the word reciprocity. I thought, wow, that's a big word for him. And then he tried it again and f***ed it up. Should have left it alone, Donnie.
Don't be rude.
How about Rush Limbaugh getting the Medal of Freedom for a radio host? Really? I guess Howard Stern and Joe Rogan are next? I missed the Democratic response, but I got a text from the senator saying, quote, she was smoking hot and he would totally do her. It turned out to be the governor of Michigan. Isn't that great political commentary, though? The senator should seriously be on Fox News. He would fit in there perfect, don't you think?
I take it back. I take it back. I take it back.
That's it for this episode of Moronosity. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion. Mr. Chairman, I have a motion.
You will wait for your motion till I finish this.
Point of order, then.
Not only
Point of order has got to be recognized.
Not in the middle of,
Yes, it does. The motion is to, since the chairman is not following the House rules, I move to adjourn.
motion is to adjourn.